this was a delight, trying a very different genre. I have not read YA that I can think of. There are a number of books that cross the line, of course, but not since I read John Green's The Fault in Our Stars, which was a terrifically moving book. And I said to one of our staff, I said, okay, I think I need a little bit of a recommendation for a YA book to read for this week's challenge. Something not too heavy. So I got this very cute book. It's called Tokyo Ever After by Amico Jean. So a light book. And I finished it all in one night, which is actually another feature of some of these, of some of the YA literature. So the story revolves around Izumi, a young Japanese American woman ready for college who lives in Northern California town. Now, there are not many people who she can identify with there. She lives with her mom. She has a single mom. And still at this point, she feels this huge gap in her life. She has never known her father, and so she misses that connection. Her mom just says it was a one-night stand while she was at college or university, and so that basically is all she knows. She is surrounded by a group of 3 friends who are very loyal to her. They're a really tight group. They always have her back, and likewise she has theirs. And one of them sees the anguish that she's going through, thinking about a father, and starts doing a little bit of digging in the internet. And so ends up finding out that Izzy, as she's known to her friends, her father is the Crown Prince of Japan. Once her father is aware of her existence, he is very, very interested in having her come to Japan to meet him, to meet the royal family, and to see this daughter that he hadn't known about. Now, you can imagine a young American woman going to Japan, from a more open environment, going to a very traditional royal family environment where there's so many rules. And of course, she unknowingly breaks a lot of them and gets into the media with things she says or does that are just not approved in that society. So at one point, they have sort of a bit of a confrontation, and she's sent off, or she goes to Kyoto. And there she comes around and she has lessons. She strives to absorb more of her Japanese cultural heritage and really does very well. Now, there's also a little romance here, which I think would be thrilling for some of the young readers. And the fact that she's enjoying this life is great. And I think a few areas where you have to suspend your belief, I think. How often does a young American girl take on the role of the crown princess's daughter in Japan? Anyway, nevertheless, it's a good story. There is a problem with the romance, and she ends up, because it was splashed in the paper or media, and that didn't go down very well. So she went back to America, back to her mother in California. Lo and behold, the crown prince follows her, and we end up with some sort of indication there's a getting together of her mom and the crown prince to reestablish the relationship they had years ago in college. A lot of things have mellowed out, and so I'll leave you guessing as to what happens at the end of the story. So a good read, a cute romantic story, and my contribution to the YA challenge this week.
That one sounds like a great pick, Rose. I'm going to take a cue from Rose, and like she has in the past weeks, I have a few books to talk about this week because I do tend to read a bit of YA, and I want to make sure that we talk about something no matter the genre you like to read. So I am going to start off with Girl Man's Up. Pen, not Penelope, is the daughter of old school Portuguese parents, And she is not your conventional girl. Her parents think, to be a girl, you need to look a certain way, do a certain amount of things, but she doesn't fit within those borders. Now, she is a great friend, and as we follow her coming of age story, we really find out what it means to be a good friend as she defines herself within the society. There is quite a good LGBTQ plus love story in here as well. So again, that's Girl Mans Up by M.E. Girard. Followed up, you guys probably aren't surprised to see this on my list because this is a book I hand to everyone. Sadie by Courtney Summers features probably the best character I've ever read in my entire life. Sadie, not surprising. So Sadie lives a life of tragedy. Her sister is murdered, unfortunately. There are no parents in the picture. And she's missing. Now, a local radio host is implored to look into the disappearance of Sadie by this very strange phone call he receives. Now, he decides to do this, and he tells us about Sadie's story in a podcast format, which is really a different way to enjoy a book, and I would say a 10 out of 10 audiobook if you get the chance. This would be a great pick for anyone who identifies as a murderino. Next up, a historical fiction, which is now a series. So starting with The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, features Henry, or Monty Montague. Now, Henry enjoys a lot of vices, and pretty well anyone you can think of, he likes it. Now, he is the son of a very wealthy man who, wants his son to take over his legacy, yada, yada, yada. That's really not for Monty. And Monty, his best friend Percy, and Monty's sister embark on this last hurrah sort of journey across Europe. Basically, so Monty, it's under the guise of, getting ready to take over the family business, but really it's a chance for Monty to indulge in all of his vices one last time before being, kind of confined to this really boring life he doesn't want. One of his vices gets the trio into a bit of trouble and basically results in them being persecuted across Europe. So it's a really great book for setting, but also for character. Again, featuring an LGBTQ plus romance line, very good. Also followed up by his sister's story, The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. So look forward to that. Next week, if you're following along with Rose and I, we are going to talk about staff favorites.
We want to thank everyone for participating in another one of our virtual programs. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.